Hey everybody, Eric here for the weekly news recap for the 10th to the 16th of October 2022. Sorry, we're getting started a little bit late. Tech gremlins continue to plague me. It's the reason we didn't play Resident Evil yesterday, but whatever, I'm over it. I'm not over it, I'm still pissed about it, but whatever, I'm over it. Anyway, we're gonna get into the news. So, I'm gonna try and full screen this. I'm gonna try something. I'm gonna try and full screen. Anyway. So, PlayStation Stars is now officially launched everywhere where they plan to launch it. So, it started off in Japan 2 weeks ago, moved out to Asia and the American territories last week, and then it's moved into Europe, Australia, and New Zealand this week. So, the PlayStation Stars thing is a loyalty program similar enough to something Xbox and Nintendo are doing with their shop points, coins, and such. PlayStation Stars is effectively the same thing, but of course it's Sony, so they need to break it up into a bunch of different tiers and shit like that. So I have here some screenshots I took of the app. So this is from my account, I suppose, if you like. So the PlayStation Stars thing is only currently available in the app or on a website. It is not available on the console. Or there's no home for it on the console, if you like. Hey Melvin, I did in fact say hi to the dog. There's slobber all over me. Anyway. Luckily, I'm wearing black. It's difficult to see. Yeah, so this is the front page, if you like, of your PlayStation Stars thing. If you manage to get invited, if you weren't put on the waiting list. So you have your stupid collectible things here in the middle. You've got different campaigns that you can try to take part in. If you click into some of the campaigns, they'll give you an idea of what is required for them. So if you complete this campaign, you'll get a Sony Cord machine thing that's definitely not an NFT. Definitely was never supposed to be an NFT. The idea for this particular campaign is that you launch a game matching a 1994 song. I haven't done this one because I haven't been arsed to figure out the clues or the riddles or whatever. Some of them are a lot more basic though, that are just literally play a single game and you'll get it kind of thing. If you go into the rewards, so this is what you can use your actual points for. So points are rewarded to you for buying things on the PlayStation Store. That's pretty much the only way. There is a campaign here where you can get a piddling amount of points, but whatever. Most of it you're going to get from buying games. So you can redeem them again for horrible, definitely not an NFT. If you really save up for like 5 years, you might be able to buy a game. And you can also get just store credit down at the bottom there. The collectibles themselves, here's a couple of examples of them. The vast majority of these were just launch a game within the campaign. I think one of them was launch a particular game. The novelty toy fight trophy, you had to launch a fighting game, I think was the deal with that. But the rest of them were just play a game. So obviously you're not going to get this because this is a still image, but it rotates. That's it. You can't actually click in and like zoom into it or anything like that. That's as big as it gets, which isn't great. Anyway, if you click in further, you'll get an idea of the tier list. So this is level 2 tier, and requirement to get onto level 2 was you need to buy one full game. We'll get into what a full game is in a second. And earn rare and above trophies. Now this is a little confusing because the website actually says uncommon and above trophies. So it's not clear which one is actually true. All that really means is that common trophies don't count, I suppose. So what's a common trophy? What's a rare trophy? Because they're all broken down into bronze, silvers, and golds over on PlayStation. So what's the deal with this? If you click into trophies, you'll see that they also have a rarity attached to them. So even though you may have a gold trophy, it might be a very rare gold trophy, etc. So it's the rarity that's the important part here. Whether this gets applied retroactively, if you're like one of the first people to play a game, any trophy you earn is extremely rare, right? But obviously later on, as more people play it, they start to become less rare. So, will that actually get applied to your tier lists retroactively? I don't know. As you can see here, though, you do need both. You do need to buy full game purchases and earn trophies in the first place. So the only thing to get from tier 1 to tier 2 was to buy a full game and win or earn a single rare or above trophy, which I did. I bought Tunic because we played that on Friday. and I earned a trophy in Moonscars, I think, and that's what pushed me over onto level 2. So what's a full game? So if we go back to, here's what the collectible case looks like as well if you click into it. So if we go back to here, you can see in the PS Store rewards thing, there is full game written underneath it. So all full game really means is not DLC, not expansion packs, not like levels, characters, that kind of thing. It means a game, not a demo, trial version, and so on. What I thought they meant was like full priced game, which was like a big blockbuster AAA first party Sony thing. But no, that's not what it means. It just means a full game, which is a lot more generous than I was going to give them credit for. Anyway, that's the PS Stars thing. It does still have the kind of shitty tier 4 thing where you get priority in customer service, which you should not. But again, as I will point out, Sony's customer service is not particularly good, so you're really just getting priority for them to not help you faster. Pretty much. That's all that's really going to happen there. I was meant to do an exchange rate breakdown thing, but I forgot to do it. Oh, well, I'm only remembering it now. I was going to do an exchange rate thing on like, you know, your Nintendo coins versus your Sony coins versus your Xbox coins, which one is actually the better deal, but I forgot to do it. Maybe I'll do it. Maybe I'll remember to do it next time. Anyway, we're going to move on from that, though. So, Dead Space had a fairly lengthy gameplay walkthrough this week to kind of ramp people up for the game releasing early next year. This is a fairly lengthy video, so I am going to skip around in it, but it's, as you can see, it looks very, very good. It is kind of funny when they do put the comparison side by side, because I always remember Dead Space looking really good, you know? Even for a PS3 game, or especially for a PS3 game more like that, it looked gorgeous. And you know what? It still looks pretty good, honestly, but nostalgia, rose-tinted glasses, and so on, it doesn't look quite as good, I suppose. Some interesting changes they have mentioned is that you are now freely able to explore the ship as much as you want. Dead Space 1 being a PS3, Xbox 360 game, it's somewhat limited in, you know, loading capacity, memory, and so on. You have to take a tram to pretty much move between chapters, move between levels, which was effectively a big loading screen. Whereas Dead Space Remake, fuck that, there's no loading screens. It's zero gravity, just go for it. So you can, if you want to, and if you think your oxygen will last long enough, you can just jet boost your way to the end of the game. But, spoilers, your oxygen will not last long enough. Anyway, that's pretty interesting. They've also mentioned some... Sorry, I meant to be skipping ahead on this. They also mentioned some stuff that they have integrated a intensity director or something like that. I think that's what they call it. And the idea is, it's something that you'll have seen in a lot of more modern games, is where they ramp up and ramp down the difficulty depending on how well you're doing. They started doing that in Resident Evil 4, and then a lot of other games started implementing it. And basically, there's no real... Just because you set the game to normal doesn't mean your normal will be the same for everyone. You know, depending on how good you're doing, it might get a little harder, it might get a little easier. You know, it'll go up and down. Easy mode and so on. I think the only way they got around that, or speedrunners get around it, is that they just set the game to the hardest mode possible. And then that way they know it can't get any harder than that. So it's a weird way to think about it, but I guess there's that anyway. They've also pointed out that the spaceship will repopulate over time with more necromorphs. So previously in Dead Space, if you cleared out a room, the room was cleared. That was it. Not anymore. Necromorphs can just jump on you, whether you like it or not. I'm not sure how I feel about that one, but yeah, it's looking really good. It's looking really, really good. Anyway, that's barely half of the video. There's plenty more in that if anyone is interested and wants to check that out. Okay, so some delay news. Humankind, which was going to be, or still is, I suppose, a sort of rival for Civilization, has been delayed for console, and it's indefinite, more or less. They don't know when it's going to come back, or if it's ever going to release on consoles. So, due to some unique challenges, the console version is being ported by Aspyr. I'll talk about them in a second. We can't give a time frame on a new release date right now. So you can see Humankind is a sort of isometric Civ type game, but it's a little bit more compact. You're mostly focusing on just one clan or one tribe as they make their way from caveman times to modern times and that kind of thing. So why this could be an issue is Aspyr. So Aspyr were in the news previously with the Knights of the Old Republic remake, and that the game was taken away from them because they seemed like they were going to be up to the challenge or something like that. Maybe it's something like that as well for these guys. It's possible that Aspyr have bitten off more than they can chew for humankind, and it's just not up to snuff for Sega, and they felt that maybe a different studio can do it. This is, of course, huge speculation from me. There is nothing to suggest that anywhere in any of the news or the tweets. One of those. I'm very tired. Give me a minute. Yeah, I'm gonna base this on Aspyr having also had Knights of the Old Republic taken from them, and that they've had issues with stability in some of their later ports and stuff like that. So that's what I think. Well, I guess we'll find out later on. And then disgusting, horrible, literally unplayable news: Gotham Knights will be 30 frames per second on consoles. Okay, anyway, for whatever reason, due to the types of features we have in our game, like providing a fully untethered co-op experience in our highly detailed open world. Stop reading off the press release. It's not as straightforward as just lowering the resolution and getting a higher FPS. So this is basically on calls for, like, why isn't there a performance mode versus a quality mode or a fidelity mode or whatever that a lot of other games have. You know, they have a toggle for, do you want a nice frame rate or do you want nice graphics? You know, which one do you want? I'm not paying for 30 frames per second Gotham Knights. Fuck that. Or play it on PC. PC will not have this issue. It's just the console version. So what's interesting here, and why this is a news story at all, I'll wait until it's free somewhere. Yeah, probably. I think I may be doing the same. I don't know. It depends what. It depends when we finish Arkham Knight, I suppose. Anyway, for this reason, our game does not have a performance quality toggle option and will run at 30 frames per second. So why is this interesting in one sense? Is that the game has been delayed a couple of times. Because they wanted time to deliver the best possible experience for players. This is not the best possible experience for players, I think you might argue. They also axed previous generation versions of the game, the PS4 and Xbox One versions, again, ostensibly because it wasn't going to run well on those platforms. So, you know, it's all kind of chalks up to, is the game going to run well at all anyway, even with the 30 frames per second crutch? It's not good news, honestly. It doesn't feel like it's good news. I guess, you know, you'll wait and see. It's out next week. We'll all know. We'll all know then. The internet will tell everybody. Okay, so monthly game release stuff. So the PlayStation Plus game catalog has been will be updated next week. And what is coming to the catalogs now? So in the extra catalog, Grand Theft Auto Vice City, the definitive edition asterisk, you know, your experience may vary. This is the definitive edition port of the mobile version of Grand Theft Auto Vice City. It was slated massively when it was released the first time. It has been patched a couple of times since, but as far as I can tell, it's still shit. And is in no way definitive because it's missing all the good music. And that was kind of the whole point of Vice City. But there are some interesting other changes. There's high resolution textures that really makes the game look even worse. They've increased draw distances again, makes the game look worse. Grand Theft Auto 5 controls and targeting. I mean, Vice City's controls and targeting were kind of shit, but I'm not sure Grand Theft Auto 5's were any better. Anyway, it's not the best version, honestly. The definitive edition is very much citation needed, asterisk required here. Dragon Quest XI S, Echoes of an Elusive Age, the definitive edition. This one is a little bit more definitive edition, but again, it's still missing some stuff. Anyway, Dragon Quest is a very traditional JRPG. The Dragon Quest series in particular does not really evolve all that much. They very much know what they're known for and they stick to it, and some people might think that as a bit conservative and regressive and whatever, but you know what? They make good JRPGs. They're fun, they're whimsical, colorful. I enjoy them. They're a bit friendly kind of JRPG. What's probably the most grating thing about it is the music, though, because the music also has not evolved since they started the game. It is effectively the same music tracks over and over, and they're not particularly great. And what's particularly bad about Dragon Quest XI S is that they're using like MIDI versions of the music. They're not using the orchestral version that was in the original PlayStation version of the game. So Dragon Quest 11S is the Nintendo Switch version of it, and it does not have the orchestral music, but it does have a toggle from like modern graphics to ye olde pixel graphics and stuff like that. It also has much higher frame rate, better resolution graphics, and so on. So it has a lot of like fidelity stuff, but then the music is absolutely grating. It's difficult to play for long stretches of time. Assassin's Creed Odyssey, the only good Assassin's Creed in the last while, is Assassin's Creed, but ancient Greece. It's actually pretty good, but it's way too fucking big. And I think it got a patch recently to push it up to 60 frames per second on PS5 and Series X and so on. It's decent and it's free, so why not? Both of the Dragon Quest Builders games, the Dragon Quest Builders games are Minecraft, basically. Minecraft, but Dragon Quest. Again, if you like the Dragon Quest trappings and you also like Minecraft, there's a good chance you'll like Dragon Quest Builders. And to be fair, Dragon Quest Builders games, they're fun. They're enjoyable. The building part is, anyway. The fighting part, not so much. Even more, we're not done with Dragon Quest yet. This must be the Dragon Quest update. The World Trees Woe and the Blight Below, that's Dragon Quest Heroes. And Dragon Quest Heroes 2 are Musou 1v1000 games, so like the Dynasty Warriors games. But again, Dragon Quest. I've only played the first one, and the first one starts off fairly easy. It gets a little bit challenging in the later levels. Okay, we're out of Dragon Quest Town. Inside. So Inside is from the same team who brought you Limbo. It is a side-scrolling even puzzle 'em up, trial and error kind of thing. You know the idea. You walk forward 2 steps, a trap hits you, and you go, "Fuck you, game." Now you gotta walk forward only half as many steps, let the trap fall, and then move past it and go, haha, and then get hit by a boulder or something later on. It's that kind of game. It's somewhat hilarious in how many... They're not meant to be funny, I don't think. They're very grim and dystopian settings, but they always come across as comedy games to be. Just the way they just keep smacking you with stupid slapstick traps. Anyway, The Medium from Bloober Team is a adventure narrative game. You play a character who can split their consciousness between this world and the afterlife, and the kind of central crux of the game's gameplay is that you control her in both the real world and the astral plane, or whatever way you want to put it. So it's like side by side, split screen, and you control them both ways. And one of them, there might be an open door, and the other one, there isn't an open door. And you got to figure out, okay, how can I get them through this by changing directions or changing orientation. Sometimes you can jump fully into one world, sometimes you can jump fully into the other world, and that kind of thing. It has some pretty tricky content. There's like trauma, sexual trauma, PTSD, pedophilia, and some all sorts of other horrible shit going on in the game. I'm not so sure it tackles it all particularly great, but you know what? They try, and it's an interesting enough concept. And I think the central villain is interesting, in my opinion. A Naruto game. Let's keep going. Even more Assassin's Creed. All right, Assassin's Creed Chronicles China was a side-scrolling Assassin's Creed game. It's much smaller in scope. It's a little bit more arcadey, I guess. Assassin's Creed Chronicles India, same deal, but India. And then the Russian one, yep, same deal, Russia. Assassin's Creed 3 remastered. The bad Assassin's Creed. This is the one that set during the American Revolutionary War, and that's all I'm going to say about it, because that period of history bores the shit out of me. Assassin's Creed Syndicate, Victorian London. Again, a period of history that bores the shit out of me. Hohokum, don't know. I know the name, but that's about it. Explore extraordinary worlds. Become a curious flying kite-like being as you travel to colorful worlds just waiting to be explored. Interact with eclectic characters, wacky toys, and peculiar environments to uncover some very strange secrets. Or simply roam on your own pace, at your own pace even, and be totally amazed and amused at the surprises that unfold in front of your eyes. Okay. I still don't really know what the game is about, but okay. And then the premium stuff. So the premium is meant to be retro classic games. Your mileage may vary again. The Yakuzis 3, 4, and 5 remastered versions. That is basically the last couple of Yakuza games that weren't on the service up till now. Now they are. So now you can get Yakuza Kiwami 1, which was the remake of Yakuza 1, Yakuza Kiwami 2, which is the remake of Yakuza 2. Now you can get 3, 4, and 5 remastered. Yakuza 6 Song of Life, and Yakuza 7 Like a Dragon, and also Yakuza 0. So all of them. You get them all. Except the weird zombie spin off one that nobody likes. You can't get that one. Limbo, again, same people that brought you Inside previously. Hey, why don't you go back and play their original game, Limbo, which is the same kind of deal. You know, walk 2 steps, get eaten by a trap. It's the same deal. Ultra Street Fighter 4. Street Fighter 6 has been doing really great in betas and stuff, so hey, why don't you go give this one a try while you're at it. Castlevania Lords of Shadow was one of the attempts to bring Castlevania to 3D. It was a big God of War-like, but Castlevania trappings. I like Lords of Shadow. I'm still miffed that it's PS3, which means you have to stream it. But whatever. And Everyday Shooter, I have no idea what that game is, and I don't know why it's considered a classic though, but alright. Everyday Shooter is an album of games exploring the expressive power of abstract shooters. Play through different levels, each with a completely unique musical, graphical, and gameplay style. Shoot to trigger musical sounds and riffs that combine to form the final soundscape of the game. Okay, it's a shooter, but weird, I think, is what we're going for there. Anyway, that is the PlayStation Plus Premium and Extra catalog updates, so they should be rolling out at some stage this week. And then Xbox Game Pass is obviously going to shit all over that because they have considerably more games and more modern, more recent games. Kavox Pitch, Rhythm Baseball. Okay, interesting. Them's Fighting Herds is a fighting game, but you're playing as like farm animals, or herd animals, I suppose, or deer, cows, that kind of thing. Ghostbusters Spirits Unleashed, if you have played Midnight Ghost Hunt, or to that effect, Phasmophobia, also to that effect kind of thing, Ghostbusters Spirits Unleashed is kind of the same deal. It's 4v1, 4 of you are the Ghostbusters, 1 of you is a ghost. But whereas in, we'll say, Dead by Daylight, which is also a 4v1 kind of thing, the killer or the hunter in Dead by Daylight is obviously super overpowered and can annihilate a single character very, very easily. But the other way around is Ghostbusters Spirits Unleashed, is where the Ghostbusters are actually quite powerful and the ghost is not. And the ghost is basically trying to survive long enough to not get busted and haunt whatever the level is, kind of thing. I've seen a couple of playthroughs of it. I have no interest in it because it's a PvP thing and I just don't like PvP, but I'd be interested to watch people play it. We did a calculation with McGreed, friend of the channel, from all the games we want to play in Game Pass, and it is very much worth it. Yes, I would think so. Because it's kind of ridiculous. A Plague Tale Requiem, just fucking free. A Game Pass, day one. Like, should I get an Xbox? Like, oh, god damn. There are some really good games on it, but on the other hand, do I want to play into Microsoft's monopoly idea is what they're going for here. Plague Tale Requiem, we're going to be playing a lot of it on the channel. Coming up, we are going to do a full LP. I did a full LP of A Plague Tale Innocence a while ago. I think it was one of the last pre-recorded LPs I did before I started just streaming everything. The Sims 4 is going free to play, which we talked about 2 weeks ago. That'll be happening October 18th, which is pretty soon. Tuesday, in fact. 41 hours. Manipulate time and space in a first-person shooter that blends modern weaponry with advanced tech. Sounds like Singularity so far. Take the role of Ethan, a workaholic scientist and capable... Okay, it's Half-Life, but time travel. Alright, that's what they're going for there. Alright. The Last Hero of Nostalgaia. We talked about this a little bit at the Game Awards, or the game trailers, the game ads. It is Dark Souls, but doesn't take itself very seriously. It's trying to be like a parody of those kind of games. World War II Bunker Simulator. What? Is it just binoculars and you look out at the Normandy? You're an American soldier who captures a German bunker in Normandy. You must defend it at all costs and survive. Complete missions, cook and shoot, search the bodies. Good God, ammo and food to survive. Why am I having to search for food and shit? Why am I being supplied by my quartermaster? Why have I just been left to fend for myself in this bunker? Okay, whatever. Should take that up with the upper brass. Okay, Doomed to Hell. An action-packed roguelike, top-down shooter that is a hell of a lot of fun. Oof. Play as Rose, and though you've just died, your adventure's just getting started. Battle your way out of hell through hordes of... Okay, arcadey, top-down, shooty-shoot type things. Gas Station Simulator. I actually have heard some stuff about this, and people are actually quite interested in. Gas Station Simulator is all about renovating, expanding, and running a gas station along a highway in the middle of a desert. Freedom of choice and multiple approaches to run your business and deal with pressures are key ingredients in the game. Okay. I actually have heard that that's an interesting one, but again, I don't think it interests me too much. The Jackbox Party Pack is just a bunch of, party games. Most of them are good for a laugh. JoJo Siwa Worldwide Party. Okay, skip. New Tales from the Borderlands is Tales from the Borderlands, but now Gearbox are making it just themselves without Telltale involved. What I've seen on the trailers, it doesn't look particularly great, but whatever. One True Hero looks like an attempt to do Legend of Zelda. Epic 3D platforming adventure, okay, maybe not. 3D platforming featuring a young hero who never thought that he could save the kingdom, take a magic sword in your hand to become the... Okay, it sounds very boring. Park Story. Handcrafted puzzle dungeons, confront your demons in Park Story. Okay, Firewatch. It's basically Firewatch. Persona 5 Royal, holy shit. Award-winning, yeah, Persona 5 is great. If you haven't played it, go play it. Moving on. Phantom Abyss. A massive asynchronous multiplayer game that casts players into procedure-generated temples. Okay, I actually have seen this. It's a bit like multiplayer Indiana Jones kind of thing. Think of it like... You're kind of trying to get from point A to point B. There's a lot of different platforming obstacles and parkour opportunities and stuff like that. And there are ghosts of other players who are also playing that level, or who have played that level, and you can see what they tried to do. Did that work? Did that not work? Did they fall to their death and stuff like that? And then I guess by committee, you eventually get to the end of the level. No, it's too multiplayer for me. Numo Capsula Nevmo? I presume it's meant to be EU. Anyway, casual adventure game that takes place in an alternate utopian atom punk world. Is that what it is? Atom punk, not nuclear punk? Nuclear wasteland? I don't know. City is connected by a single system of rails, tracks, and pipes. The smallest part of this bizarre system is the mechanical mail that's delivered by carts on small rails. You will play the role of one of these carts. I'm a cart? I'm not even a person. I'm this. Okay. Shapeshooter. On-rail shooter where you'll have to clear colonies across 4 planets from little creature infestations. Okay. It's very arcadey. It sounds like a mobile game, honestly. You are the only citizen of Temples, a small island far from civilization. Why haven't I left? Where you live a quiet and carefree life. Do I? It sounds like I'm extremely lonely and probably talking to myself. One night everything changes. A blinding light appears that functions as a time travel portal. Now you must find a way to reactivate the portal so you can travel back to your own time as you explore each scenario to find a way home. Okay. Airy Last Day of Earth. 3D flight exploration thing. Okay. That's a bit like... I think it's like a journey type deal. Gotham Knights, just fucking free. Here you go. Well, Melwin, if you don't want to pay for it, it's on Game Pass. It looks like it's only for a series, though. It doesn't look like it's gonna be on PC Game Pass. Anyway, or maybe it is. How does this work? Game Pass, PC Game Pass, Smart Delivery, whatever that means. I don't know what I don't own an Xbox, so I don't know what Smart Delivery means. Are these all Game Pass or are they just releases? Next week on Xbox, new games. Oh, okay, so these aren't all... Alright, I didn't read this properly. These aren't all Game Pass games. Plague Tale is Game Pass. Ghostbusters is not. Nostalgia isn't. Okay. I should probably have read this a bit better. Anyway. Persona 5? Okay, so you know what? The bigger games are all Game Pass. Phantom Abyss is Game Pass. Gotham Knights is not Game Pass. Okay, it's not free. Never mind. Sorry, Melwin. I got your hopes up right there. You will, if you want to pay, you're gonna have to wait. Okay. Right. Those are some of the games that are coming out soon. But what if you wanted to play something right now? Well, you could play Dragon Ball The Breakers, which is another lopsided 4v1 multiplayer PvP thing. Only in this case, you have 4 players who are playing just the not very powerful members of Dragon Ball, more or less. And you have 1 player who is playing an incredibly godlike being that are the villains of Dragon Ball. And the idea is, of course, you need to escape. Dead by Daylight. So it's Dead by Daylight, but Dragon Ball. What happens here, though, is that the Dragon Ball villains, when they defeat the heroes, the breakers, if you like, they get even more powerful. So in the same way, if you've watched any of the Dragon Ball things, when Cell consumes people, or when Boo turns them into candy and eats them, he gets more powerful and so on. Same deal. I don't know how it works for Frieza, because I don't think he has that option, but there you go. That's Dragon Ball The Breakers. Then we have Lego Brick Tales. So we talked a little bit about this a while ago. It just seems like what a Lego game should always have been, and just here, go build shit. You know, here's like a collection. Here's like a little box of Lego pieces. Now go make something. You know, why? I don't understand why this wasn't the first idea every time they made a Lego game, and instead they always went for like weird platformers and stuff like that. But there you go. You basically have the idea is we need a car, so go build a car, and that's kind of it. They don't really tell you how to build it, what plans you need to use or stuff like that. So long as it drives and doesn't fall apart. I guess they have some kind of internal logic for how it should work. So there's probably restrictions on how much of it you can make, but I think for the most part, as long as it sort of looks like a car. Also, that guy just said, "What are you buying, stranger?" What are you buying? All right, anyway, that looks really fun. I don't know how good a stream it'll be if you're just sitting there trying to build a fucking bridge and you can't do it for 2 hours. I understand. Go ahead. No More Heroes 3. It's been a while since there's been a No More Heroes game, so this is Travis Touchdown, fairly tongue-in-cheek, doesn't take itself very seriously, very satirical action combat game where you play Travis Touchdown, owner of the Beam Saber, who generally just kills a lot of people constantly. But it's a very funny series. In this sense, some kind of alien prince has descended onto the planet and has taken over, and it's up to Travis to work his way up the galactic superhero ranks or something to become number one. The No More Heroes games are really good, but they've suffered from performance issues, mostly because they've always been on consoles that just can't handle the game. You know, they're on Wii, the Wii U, stuff like that. Now it's on pretty much everything, I think. It might not be on Xbox, but I think it's on PlayStation, it's on Switch, and it's on PC. What's a little annoying is No More Heroes 1 and 2 are only available on Nintendo consoles, whereas you can't get them on PlayStation, PC, or whatever. I mean, you can emulate them, I suppose. And I think that's because they have a publishing deal with Nintendo. You can see already on his fist there, he has a Switch Joy-Con. You know, it's very much a Nintendo-focused franchise, but it is available on different platforms. Scorn. Scorn seems like it's been coming out for a million years. But Scorn is, hey, what if H.R. Geiger made a video game? And that's kind of what it is. It's all things that all look vaguely fleshy and penisly. Some of them are not particularly vague about the penisy part. It looks horrible in a good way, I suppose. You know, everything is disgusting. Everything is like biology, industrial kind of horrible shit. From what I've seen of people playing it and some like reviews and stuff, they're like, yeah, it looks really good, plays not so great. So your mileage may vary on this kind of game. God, it looks fucking horrible. Anyway, I need to get that off the screen. Alright, and the last one, The Case of the Golden Idol, is another throwback point and click kind of game. So we had a look at the excavation of Hobbs Barrow last week. The Case of the Golden Idol is kind of along the same way, but it is very freeform in how you put cases together. Like, there is a lot of evidence. Not all of it is relevant. In fact, the vast majority of it is not relevant, and it is up to you to kind of piece these things together. It has a little bit of Return of the Obra Dinn to it. You know, like in that there is definitely a solution that is correct. And it's, you know, how many of these things can you get right and that kind of thing. Looks really interesting. Right now it is PC only, so I can't play it. But I do have a Steam Deck on the way, so one of these days I'll get some of these PC games running on the channel. Okay, I think that was it for new releases. Indeed, it was. That was it for new releases for this week. But you know what happens now. It is now time to talk about the worst part of video games, the video game industry. So, a new Activision lawsuit makes revenge porn sexual harassment allegations. So, Activision, it's time to shit on Activision again, more or less. Activision Blizzard is facing a fresh lawsuit. This is brought again in Los Angeles by unnamed woman, Jane Doe. It targets both Activision Blizzard itself along with the employee's former manager, Miguel Vega. Activision Blizzard's failure to curb sexist and harassing content emboldened manager Miguel Vega to abuse, belittle, and insult Miss Doe. by making comments to her about oral sex, masturbation, and orgasms, threatening her job if she would not consent to sex, mocking her breasts, and commenting on other female employees' attractiveness. Mr. Vega also repeatedly threatened to expose a compromising photo of Miss Doe. So yeah, that's great. Can't wait to go to work tomorrow when I have all this shit to deal with. Fuck's sake. For Activision's part, they did come back with an update to say that we take all employees, yada yada. They did fire him, so I guess there's that. But on the other hand, you've been tolerating it for how long? Like, this couldn't have been unknown to you at this point. Miss Doe says of her time at the company at work, Mr. Vega repeatedly groped Miss Doe's breasts around a dozen times. On each occasion, he would squeeze, grab, or poke her breasts, and she immediately recoiled at these unwanted advances. He often attempted to kiss her at work. All of Mr. Vega's sexual advances upon Miss Doe were unwelcomed, and after each time she rejected him, he'd assure her that one day it'll happen. One day you'll give in. Wow. That's the kind of caliber of manager they have over there. Okay. There was also constant professional belittling as well. It's like you're failing at a job a monkey could do. He would also say she was a nobody and her opinions didn't matter and she doesn't know shit. There's more stuff here. I'm not going to go through all of it because I don't particularly want to talk. I don't particularly want to hear my own voice say these words. So, but yeah, it's pretty bad shit. He's talking about him whipping out his dick. Saying she was like wants to have better opportunities at work, and he's like, yeah, if you know what to do, and he points at his dick, and so on. So why, I mean, we kind of know all this about Activision already, so why is this interesting? Well, the thing is, he was still doing this shit up until August of 2021. This is weeks after the sexual harassment expose, and he was still doing it. He was still threatening to publicly release compromising photos he had of her from when they previously had a friendly relationship, I think. Like, the environment was such at Activision that he was perfectly happy to do this kind of thing. He was in no way felt that he was jeopardizing his own job or his own position or anything like that. Anyway, the lawsuit has only just been filed. Possibly we'll hear more about it, or possibly we won't. It might be settled out of court. But yeah. Who knows if they're actually making any actual changes in Activision. Doesn't sound like they are. But we're not done. We're not done with Activision. So, UK regulator details concerns over Microsoft's proposed acquisition of Activision Blizzard, and Xbox responds. So this is the CMA, the Consumer Marketing something. No. Competition and Markets Authority. Different. I have lost all my highlights on this page. Thanks, Chrome. Okay, anyway, I just had to give you the gist, I guess, of what I could remember of the article. Basically, the CMA, the Competition and Markets Authority of the UK, that's just kind of like the SEC of the United States. They're the antitrust monopoly kind of guys. They want to stop monopolization of the market and that kind of thing. It's cited its concerns over the deal. Microsoft has responded to them. So the impact on PlayStation and other rivals. So the idea is the CMA is like Microsoft have a history of buying companies and taking their stuff exclusive. Look at Bethesda, look at Ninja Theory, etc. They bought ZeniMax and suddenly Starfield is now Xbox exclusive, etc. So they can't say that Call of Duty won't go exclusive at some point. We can't just take your word for it because you have precedent for doing it. Other things they've pointed out is that the Game Pass is a loss leader kind of thing, so that Microsoft can put themselves as, the de facto subscription service for video games because they are taking a hit because they have Microsoft money to back them up. Other companies can't do that. Sony and Nintendo don't have Microsoft kind of money. For Xbox part, they are basically saying this is Sony's playbook. You're just reading from their hymn sheet, more or less. Sony are still like the biggest in the market right now. Even if everyone who played COD decided to just jump ship to Xbox, Sony would still have the biggest market share, and so on. Sony has the opportunity. While Sony may not welcome increased competition, it has the ability to adapt and compete. Does it? Kinda, I suppose. The issue really with Sony is that they've gone all in on prestige gaming, which is we're only going to release a couple of games, but we're going to release like really big, extremely well detailed AAA games, like, The Last of Us, Horizon, Ghost of Tsushima, that kind of thing. And we're not going to make smaller, like, indie arcadey type games that they used to kind of make. That's what the Japan studio was kind of for. And the problem with that is they need to make back their money on that. And the way they do that is €70 on release date, $70, £70 sterling, whatever. They're not going to make back their money if it's day one on PlayStation Pass, So while they can do it, they would have to drastically change course. And this is a course they've been on for the last 10 years now. So while they can do it, certainly, and I personally think they should go back to early PS4 days, in my opinion. Anyway, and then streaming concerns is what I said there, is that Xbox are trying to become loss leaders. Little annoying I lost my highlights there, because then I'd have to dive into that whole article. But you can, if you want. Links will be in the face bin in the description. Okay, so some shit happened yesterday on Bayonetta 3. So Bayonetta's voice actor is telling fans to boycott Bayonetta 3 after insulting offers. So here's the gist of it. Helena Taylor, who is the voice actor for Bayonetta 1 and 2, is not returning for Bayonetta 3. She's going to be played by Jennifer Hale instead, who's a well-known industry veteran for voice acting. She does... One you'll probably remember best is probably female Commander Shepard from Mass Effect, or FemShep. So she was offered the role for a piddling $4,000 to return for Bayonetta 3. So that is, as you might imagine, fairly insultingly low ball for what would be, one, a shit ton of work, and two, for a game and a character that is well known, you should be able to get more money than that, and that is well below even market rate for just standard voice acting work. This has recently been confirmed. The Taylor has been replaced for Jennifer Hale. Again, we did see that. Hideki Kamiya, who's vice president of Platinum Games, the developer behind Bayonetta, has responded to say that Helena Taylor's claims are not true. This was not the case. Taylor says the Bayonetta franchise has made approximately $450 million, and they are insultingly lowballing me with $4,000. Now, taking it on the surface, yes, this is extremely shitty behavior from Platinum Games and Nintendo. You can also point out that voice actors in general are not treated particularly well. Just look at the Super Mario's movie. Chris Pratt was subbed in for Charles Martinet, who's been the voice for 20 years. And they were like, nah. The Sonic film, same deal. The actual Sonic voice actor was not given the role, and so on. So voice actors are generally not treated particularly well. What's interesting here is this could be a case of Platinum Games not wanting to say no, but trying to get Helena Taylor to take the hint. Maybe that they gave her such a low ball number because the idea was, we don't actually want you for the role, but they didn't want to say no, or I don't know. It's not a great look for anybody, to be honest. Helena Taylor is the voice of Bayonetta and should still be the voice, and not to throw any shade at Jennifer Hale for doing it either. Somebody has to voice the character, and she's a very good voice actor, so why not? That's fine. I don't think it should be a case that Bayonetta should now become mute, but 4,000 is obviously extremely low ball. The question, I think, is like the kind of, what did they think this was worth? What did they offer to pay me? The final offer to do the whole game as a buyout flat rate was $4,000 US. I don't want the world. I didn't ask for too much. I was just asking for decent, dignified living wage. Yeah, like, we don't know. There may be some behind the scenes things for Helena Taylor's previous work with Bayonetta 1 and 2. We don't know. This is entirely speculation from mine, and probably unfair speculation on my part, to be honest. I'm actually going to roll that back. Forget I said that. It sounded a bit too much like victim blaming to me. It's not a great look. It's not going to change either. I don't think boycotting is going to work either, because people have been waiting for this game for a very long time. I personally won't be playing it for a while anyway, because I haven't played Bayonetta 2, so I still have to play that. But anyway, it's not a great look. Okay, fired Nintendo QA contractor to receive $26,000 settlement. Company must also explain on yada yada. Okay, so this isn't a talk that we had a while ago that a Nintendo employee was dismissed from Nintendo, or more specifically, was dismissed from the contractor agency Aston Carter, who employed them as a QA team member. They were dismissed because they allegedly violated some NDA on their Twitter. We talked about the tweet in question. I think it's in the article. So this was the tweet. In today's build, someone somewhere must have deleted every other texture in the game because everything is now red, just like pure red. It's very silly. Is that really breaking NDA? I would argue it's not enough to actually fire somebody. I think it's enough to be like, don't talk about your work on Twitter. Verbal warning, maybe a written warning, maybe, if he's done it before. I don't think it's enough to be a firing offense. Anyway, this is Mackenzie Clifton claimed they were fired after asking about unionization. So that was their lawsuit was, no, you didn't fire me because of that tweet. You fired me because I literally asked about unionizing at a company Q&A. Anyway, they've all agreed to a settlement of $25,000 around finishing using it. Okay. Nintendo must also display a notice informing employees in block capital letters that they will not be fired or stopped from discussing unionization. So it has to read, you have the right to talk about a union. We will not stop you from talking about a union. We will not fire you because you exercise your right to raise issues and complaints to us on behalf of yourself and other employees, including related to the topic of unionization. We will not fire you because of your union membership or support. So they are required as part of the settlement to also display this. So it seems like there was enough merit in the unionization thing that Nintendo were just gonna pay to make it go away. I don't know. You don't pay just because you're not liable, honestly. If you're not liable and you have that many lawyers, I think you just fight it. Feels like an admission. I always hate these kind of settlements but no admission of guilt kind of thing, because the settlement itself is an admission of guilt, but not legally, which is really, I don't know, it's annoying. Anyway, last thing for industry bullshit. After just 14 months, Square Enix is closing yet another live service game. This time it's Final Fantasy VII's Battle Royale, which was a mobile-only thing. I can tell you why it didn't work just from that one thing right there, but whatever. The game will come to an end January 11, 2023, after less than 14 months. The team have not been able to deliver the experience that we were hoping to. So, yada yada yada, we are shuttering it. So, pointing this out, one, lol. And two, how many live service games is this now that Square Enix have closed? They're starting to become a little bit known for failed live service games. So they've had this, then they had Babylon's Fall, which was pretty much dead as soon as it launched. And then before that, there was Outriders, which isn't really, it's kind of a live service game, it's kind of not a live service game. It's a really weird in-betweeny type thing. But again, it's not doing great, as far as I'm aware. Apparently hasn't made back enough money to actually pay its developers, so not ideal. I think the real problem with the Final Fantasy VII Battle Royale, the first Soldier, is you made it a mobile game. What the hell are you doing? That should absolutely have never been a mobile. Well, you can make it a mobile game, but it should definitely have been on PC, minimum. Like, I can definitely see why it didn't do well, but okay. Anyway, we're going to continue and finish up with some dumb stuff. So, right after Google decides to shutter Stadia, they decide to launch cloud streaming laptops. It's like, does anyone in Google talk to each other? Do any of the teams actually say anything to each other? So there's 3 new laptops, 3 new Chromebooks that are meant to be marketed towards cloud game streaming. But none of them are obviously going to use Stadia because Stadia doesn't exist anymore. Or won't soon enough. But no, they're going to be one for Xbox Cloud, one for GeForce Now, and one for Amazon Luna. None for Google Stadia. Chromebooks, made by Google, not using their own product. How long have these been in development? Nobody talks to each other. Nobody talks to each other at the fucking company. Idiots. Right, anyway. And then, kind of really stupid, there's a 20-second Simpsons joke is now a full-fledged game. So you may remember there's this arcade game of Waterworld. It was hilariously expensive, and you had very little gameplay in it. Anyway, someone has gone to the trouble of actually making the game. We'll just take a quick look at some small gameplay of it. Skip. You do in fact have to put in all the quarters. It costs $40 or something just to play one game. Or was it $10? No, you play one and then you gotta play it again. But now there's an actual game. It's not a very good game, but it's there. Excuse me. God, it's very dumb. Anyway, yes, every time you die, you do have to pay even more money, and over and over and over again. It is very funny, and I can't believe somebody actually went to the bother of making something so stupid. Anyway, I'll have to come out of full screen mode. What will we have loop? Let's have Bricktails loop. Anyway, that was the news for the 10th to the 16th of October 2022. Why aren't you playing? Play, okay. So yeah, PlayStation Star stuff just launched. I guess we'll see how that goes, how long Sony actually keep to it. It definitely was not meant to be NFTs. Definitely not, guys. No, why would you think that? It was definitely not meant to be NFTs. I don't know why anyone would think that. Anyway, the Dead Space is starting to look really, really good. What else do we have? Humankind being delayed on consoles indefinitely. It's not great. I think there are some troubles at Aspire Media. Gotham Knights 30 FPS, literally unplayable. I don't know how far they're gonna get on that one. I mean, the thing is, like, most people won't care. You know, it's really only people who are very into their video games actually care about the frame rate. I don't know. I suppose it depends how it feels to play. We'll see. Anyway, industry bullshit shit. Yeah, more Activision getting even more sexual harassment lawsuits. I'm sure there are more. You know, there's people who are just like, don't want to go to the bother of making a lawsuit now. They're just, you know what, I'm out of the company. It's fine. I'm going to move on. I'm sure there's more to it than that. CMA coming back for the Activision Microsoft merger. It seems like most of these government agencies are moving on to a phase 2. So the CMA it looks like the EU is going to do it too. It looks like the SEC is as well. It seems that only Brazil so far have said okay to the merger. So we're still waiting on like every other territory to come back and see what they're going to do. Again, the focus on COD, I think, is the mistake. It's gonna bite everybody in the ass if you keep focusing on COD. You need to focus on the fact that it makes Game Pass extremely attractive to people, basically, particularly to myself, because there's a lot of games I want to play that are coming to Game Pass day one. I'm like very much considering it, and I've been a Sony fanboy since the PlayStation 1, so I don't know, guys. Anyway, we're gonna move into our channel update. So, what happened this week? So here is our game mosaic, our shortlist for games that we were playing of the second half of this year. So this week we played some Tunic on Friday. Tunic is a Zelda-like game where you play a cute little fox going about your adventure business. It's a lot of fun. I'm really liking it. We also played Moonscars on Wednesday. Moonscars is a Dark Souls-y, side-scrolly Metroid thing. It has some really interesting concepts. Every time you return to the main hub area, and then come back to the main overworld, you have to fight your last character. And your last character can be really powerful, so it is very scary. It also seems to be somewhat unavoidable too, so I don't know how I feel about that part. It is a funny concept though, that, yeah, now fight your good guy from last time. Fuck. Damn, I was so good last time, shit. That's kind of interesting. I was a bit lost on where to go during the playthrough, so I think a bit more signposting might be a bit better. But I think kind of the gist of it is that it does have the Soulsy kind of everything is shit, and only you can make it less shit kind of tone to the whole thing, but it's a bit too grim. It's a bit too grim. Like, even Dark Souls has moments of comedy and levity in it, just to kind of break it up. This is a bit too much unrelenting, everything is shit. But that was Moonscars. We also finished Grim Fandango on Monday, which is why we played Moonscars on Wednesday. So we are in need of a new Foldy Fables. We were meant to play Resident Evil yesterday, but I didn't because tech problems, and I was so pissed off by the time I thought I had them all ironed out. I just wasn't interested in streaming. So what are we going to be doing next week? So next week, I'm not particularly set on what we're going to play tomorrow, Monday. I'm thinking Vampire the Masquerade Swan Song. So Vampire the Masquerade Swan Song, which I'm just going to call Swan Song from now on, is vampires. And then also think like Detroit Become Human kind of game. So it's like a choose your own adventure type deal, but you're all vampires. You have a bunch of different characters you can play as. I think, I'm not sure if you swap character during the game or if you are one character for the whole game. I'm not sure. To be honest, I haven't looked too much into the game because I just wanted to go in not knowing too much about it. Like, I know enough about Vampire the Masquerade, the world itself, the RPG. But I don't think I needed to know too much about it. So you can think about it that way. It also has a little bit of Vampire to it, and that there is like a somewhat free-roaming platformy bit as well. I do think you play as different characters, but I think you play as one for the whole game, and then you play through again as another, and you play through again. They all have their own different strengths and abilities and such. I don't know if I'm going to continue, or sorry, I don't know if I am going to play this. This is kind of somewhat of a placeholder for Monday because I can't think of what else to play, so I am going to put that in there. It may or may not happen. I haven't decided yet. Wednesday and Thursday, we're going to play a Plague Tale Requiem. So Plague Tale Requiem comes out on Tuesday, but I have D&D on Tuesday, so there won't be in the stream. So I'm going to stream it basically as soon as I possibly can, which is Wednesday, which is ordinarily the Fully Fables day, but not this time. So, Plague Tale Requiem, sequel to Plague Tale Innocence. Hugo and Amicia. Hugo, the guy who can control rats, and Amicia, the girl who tries not to get eaten by those rats and try to keep her brother alive, have moved. They've left France, and they're now, I think, in Italy. I think is where they've gone. But it seems the rat plague has followed them, or potentially Hugo is causing it, or something. We don't know. But yeah, there's more grim medieval shenanigans of like absolute waves of rats that will annihilate the bitrate when I do actually stream it. But yeah, I really like Plague Tale Innocence. If you want to catch up before we start the stream, the full LP is over on YouTube if you want to check that out. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. And Saturday, for really reals this time, we'll get back to Resident Evil. So we are about halfway through Jill's run of Resident Evil 1 Director's Cut on the original PSX or PS1. Yeah, I was meant to play it yesterday. Streaming tech troubles, just not even streaming troubles, just PC tech problems. Like audio wasn't working, some of my lights weren't working, the monitor kept flickering on and off. I don't know what the hell was going on. I'm very concerned. It seems fine. Nothing bad has happened at this stream, at least. So, touch wood. Wait, when is there a spider in that room? Okay, I don't remember that ever happening. All right, interesting. Anyway, yes, that is tentatively the schedule for next week. So tomorrow, Vampire the Masquerade Swan Song, maybe. Asterisk, it might be something else. I haven't decided yet, really. Wednesday and Thursday, back-to-back Plague Tale Requiem. That will be our next long-running Let's Play for a while. No stream on Friday, because I potentially have D&D. Again, that needs to be confirmed. And again, asterisk, there may actually be a stream on Friday. And then Saturday, Resident Evil. Again, meant to play it yesterday, didn't get around to it. Horrible tech problems. Hopefully, won't happen again this weekend. And then we'll be right back around to the weekly news recap. So, that is the plan. Hopefully, I'll see some of you guys there for any of those games. Or if you have another suggestion for tomorrow that is a kind of story, narrative-y type game, let me know. I'll check it out if I have it. If I don't have it, I'm not buying something brand new just because I don't have it. Anyway, yeah, whatever. Let me know. Cool. I'm going to head off. Enjoy the rest of your day. Hopefully see some of you tomorrow for whatever it is I actually play. Probably will be Swan Song. But anyway, have a good one. Thanks for jumping in, Melvin. Super Mario Bros. 2. That is not a narrative game, Doom Train Inc. That could quite possibly be as little narrative as possible for Super Mario Bros. All right. Anyway, I'm going to head off. Enjoy the rest of your day. And see you guys tomorrow. Bye-bye.